Look at you guys. You look great. I think I got the best seat in the house here. I get to look at all of you. You're stuck looking at me. Well, that's all right. I got cleaned up a little bit too. I put on a little tuxedo here. It's pretty nice, isn't it? It's a rental. Don't be wrong, I have my own at home, but I was talking to Bora on the way up here, and I told him apparently that cotton and wool will shrink if it's left in a dark closet for too long. So, off to Tuxedo Junction. No, I know. I learned my lesson. I'm gonna get a polyester one next year. Good evening, and welcome to the 79th annual BIA installation dinner. There you go. It's a time to come together to celebrate the accomplishments of another year, enjoy the company of good friends, and to express our thanks to David Stern for his leadership in 2016. There you go. Thank you, David. Be a lot more of that. You know, at this dawn of a new year, we will welcome our new chair, Mike Mahoney, and the 2017 BIA Board of Directors. Thank you for noticing the applause lines. I appreciate that. And we will pay tribute to our newest member of the BIA Hall of Fame. My name is Matt Adams, your Vice President of the BIA, and for tonight, your MC. There you go. I must say that I was humbled that the BIA thought of me to guide tonight's festivities. It was, of course, after they first thought of Rusty Nails, but he's off working a Baja cruise. Or Dan Cohen from Channel 8, he did our annual dinners, but he's got the night shift over at Channel 8. Or that comedian guy that we used at the annual dinner, remember him? Yeah, he's out working on better material. Take all the time you need, Mr. Funny. We'll take it from here. No matter, I'm happy to play fourth fiddle because I can't think of a better group putting in a little overtime. I only wish I didn't sign the contract in December because apparently minimum wage has now gone up to $15 an hour. I signed it too soon. You know, 2016 was a thrilling year. From policy to politics, your BIA and its dedicated volunteers made a statement that we are here to advocate for and to defend an industry we hold most dear. At council chambers around the county, BIA members testified that there is only one true way to fix the housing crisis: build more housing. There you go. And we are proud to say that our voices have been heard. From Sacramento to here at home, policymakers have made housing production a top priority for 2017. And there's much to celebrate on the political side as well. What a wild political year it was, wasn't it? And it ended with a couple of surprises or two. While we are delighted with the success of many BIA-supported candidates, we are particularly proud of the election of the newest member of the San Diego County Board of Supervisors, Kristen Gaspar. That's right, it's because of you. We're also honored that many have joined us tonight, including our good friend, San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulkner and his wife, Catherine. Welcome. And we also welcome other members of the San Diego City Council, Councilmember Barbara Bree, Councilmember Chris Cate, Mark Kersey, Councilmember Chris Ward, and Councilmember Lori Zaff. Thank you. Welcome. And we also welcome County Supervisor Greg Cox. There you go. And from the city of Carlsbad, Councilmember Keith Blackburn, the city of Oceanside, Jerry Kern, and the Honorable Mary Salas, Mayor of the City of Chula Vista. Thank you all for joining us and for your dedication to the citizens that you so proudly serve. Okay, there's much to do tonight between dinner and the post-game celebration in the Grand Lobby Bar on the first floor. So don't forget to take a complimentary drink ticket from Danielle. She's in the foyer after the program and the dinner ends. Now, let's get to it. After all, this is our time, but this is your night. We start things off with the first of 3 short videos that ask our BIA members what the evening's theme, "This is our time," means to them. It's a familiar phrase, yet it's one that can mean different things to different people. Tonight, you'll hear directly from your BIA colleagues as they share their perspectives of "This is our time."
Our time is to build. San Diego County needs housing. We need to come out of the ground faster. We need to accomplish our goals, and we need to build the beautiful projects that we build.
Now is our time to get involved with our community, join our community planning groups, and really have a say in how our communities develop, because we're the ones that are going to be living in San Diego, buying our first homes, raising children here, and I want to stay in San Diego, and I want to help shape my community.
Now is our time for change. We need to come together as a building industry and make much needed change. If not now, when? I have 5 children who are working hard, going to college, needing to come out and own their own home. Where are they going to live? What are they going to do? We need to make changes now. We need to be able to bring back the American dream of owning our own home.
It is our time to be a part of the solution to end the homeless crisis in San Diego. A city as great as San Diego should not have a homeless crisis. We need to partner with government in order to provide not just inclusionary housing, but also affordable workforce housing for all of our generation.
I don't know if anybody needs more evidence of a serious homeless problem in San Diego than people living in wildlife preserves, people being forced out of their low-income renter housing by gentrifying, people being forced to leave town when they graduate from college, people being forced to compete with renters coming for vacation rentals. I think the solution is pretty clear. It's more housing. You look at San Antonio, Texas, where the average housing price is about $135,000. They don't have homeless people. The answer is to build more housing.
That's the answer. You know, there's been so much talk about housing and what must be done to attack this housing crisis. And that doesn't happen by accident. In 2016, the BIA focused on building bridges with the men and women who can do something about housing. That starts with constructive dialogue. It is my pleasure to introduce the man who led that effort, your 2016 board chair, Mr. David Stern.
Good evening. What a great turnout. I think we have, about 800,000 people here today for this inauguration? Anyways, good evening to all our members and guests, and thank you for joining us on this special night where we celebrate the installation of our 2017 Board of Directors. I'd also like to extend a special welcome to all of the public officials who took the time to join us tonight. And let me start by saying thank you to all of our members for entrusting me to represent you as chairman of the Building Industry Association this past year. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve in this capacity, and I have thoroughly enjoyed every minute of it. The amount of support the BIA staff provided me this past year has been simply amazing, making my year of leadership as seamless as it could possibly be. So thank you, Bora, and to everyone on the BIA staff for everything you do. I would also be remiss if I did not also thank my wife, Maria, and the rest of my family for their continued support and patience this past year while I was often out at industry events and meetings. And finally, let me express my appreciation to all of the 2016 board members for their service to the association, and in particular, David Poole, Mike Mahoney, and Rita Brandon. I was blessed to have the most engaged set of senior officers any chairman could hope for. When I think about 2016, I really think about one word: momentum. 2016 was the year that we finally made some serious traction in getting our message out that housing really does matter to everyone, that it is among the most fundamental of needs, and that we as an association really are in the midst of a serious crisis with respect to affordability. So we started the year with a series of roundtable meetings that included elected officials and high-level agency staff members from throughout the county, asking them to join in a dialogue with a select group of industry leaders. We went through the daunting statistics on the lack of new housing supply and the resultant housing cost to income imbalance in order to get their buy-in on the current situation. This was followed by a short list of process and policy changes that we felt can make a big difference in the housing pipeline, and we received a commitment from most of the participants to working on implementing many of them. The heavy lifting was then left to working groups between the BIA and agency staff, where we refined proposed policy and process changes and monitored the progress. We now have working groups with the county, city of San Diego, Carlsbad, San Marcos, and Escondido, which meet on a regular basis, as well as periodic working groups with Chula Vista, Oceanside, and Vista. This has already paid dividends in San Diego, where we have worked with city staff to expand the density bonus program and move to a flat fee structure for most plan and permit processing. At the same time, the BIA started the Housing U Matters Coalition, a consortium of organizations sharing our concern over the state of the housing market and the impact the lack of affordability has on our citizens and the local economy. This diverse group came together from many backgrounds and includes the Police and Firefighters Associations, the Regional Chamber of Commerce, Association of Realtors, the San Diego Housing Commission, Habitat for Humanity, major employers such as Scripps Healthcare, Qualcomm, and Biocom, and even a growing number of environmental groups. With such a varied group of participants, some of which may seem unlikely allies, the media soon picked up on this effort, and the coalition was mentioned in stories on local news stations, PBS, in the Union Tribune, and even in the New York Times. But most importantly, this exposure has captured the public interest and fostered public agency cooperation. 2016 saw a number of political and legislative victories during a very contentious election year. Once again, both our BIA PAC and the Build SD PAC worked overtime, and a majority of the elected officials supported by the BIA won their races. We harnessed the power and passion of our YGen members, who turned out in force to help defeat the proposed Vista Public Art Fee and the proposed 2,000-home down zone in North Park. Their success gave added meaning to the vernacular YIMBY, or yes in my backyard. When combined with our Project Greenlight program, we are now well poised as an industry to voice our support for housing opportunities in public hearings throughout the county. We also started 2016 with a very challenging operations budget, and we face a significant projected deficit at the end of the first quarter. But through careful management of costs, a ramped-up membership effort, and changing up some older, less profitable events for newer and more profitable ones, we gradually turned the tide. I'm pleased to inform you that by the time of our year-end budget review, we were back in the black and able to invest in additional savings, in reserves, and a substantial legislative issues fund. This nearly $100,000 budget turnaround ended up making 2016 the most financially successful year for the association since the start of the Great Recession a decade ago. Speaking of events, we started a new tradition with the first ever Taste of BIA this past summer, which was a hit and promises to be a well-attended moneymaker for years to come. We also had 2 Meet the Builder events that each set new attendance records, with 40 builders and developers represented, 2 sold-out golf tournaments, and a YGen leaders group that attracted over 130 bright young industry participants. Finally, we held another successful Icon Awards, while Carroll Atlantic Homes were deservedly named Builder of the Year, not to mention an annual meeting where we were joined by a record number of public officials. All in all, 2016 was a successful year by most accounts. We met our challenges head-on and prevailed in our never-ending effort to remove the roadblocks towards providing housing opportunities for all San Diegos. On the pleasure of the incoming chairman and board of directors, I will continue to focus my efforts in 2017 on building bridges to the business community and to other potential allies, as I pledged I would a year ago. Our work is far from done, but please know that your BIA is well positioned to make a difference again this coming year, for this is indeed our time. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the program.
David, we know how much you enjoy hitting the slopes. Believe me, this guy can ski. This guy warms up on double diamonds. But every good skier needs the top gear in order to make it the best experience possible. So please avail yourselves of the best equipment and enjoy your times on the slope. It's a token of appreciation for your work at the BIA. Thank you so much.
It's all downhill from here, I guess.
I like that one. Thank you, David. A couple of things. One, I wanted to acknowledge 2 more dignitaries who are with us this evening. One, sitting right there, the Honorable Cheryl Cox, who is former mayor of the city of Chula Vista. Hi, Cheryl. Thank you. And I don't want to forget our Santee friends, because we have lots of Santee friends out there. Rob McNellis, council member from the fine city of Santee. Thank you for joining us this evening. All right, when you hear the name Borowinkle, 2 things come to mind. First of all, historian, right? Those of you who know him, the guy is nuts for history. It's a true story. I walked in his office the other day, and I said, Bora, just how far back can you trace your history in your family? Remember this? And he sits there and he thinks about it for a second and he goes, no, not that far back. You know, some of the churches were burned and records destroyed and all sorts of riffraff. I can only go back to the 1500s. Now, I got a pretty good idea that my grandparents were born in Cheektowaga, New York, but that's about it. The other thing you think about Borowinkle is passion. And he proudly wears his passion for housing on his sleeve. Please welcome the BIA's staunchest advocate, your president and chief executive officer, Mr. Borowinkle.
I'd always like to show up like Dean Martin, you know, with a, where is it? Okay. Anyway, thank you, Matt. That was very sweet of you. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful people that you are. Thank you for allowing me this moment on stage. So, our Hall of Fame is the big deal, as all past honorees will attest. Hall of Fame means that you go from being someone today to being somebody for life. Now, it would be a great or a giant understanding to say that Jim Schmidt was and remains extraordinarily generous with his time and resources by favoring our many causes. So just tonight, it seems that half the room is made out of Chelsea tables. Why Jim? Or like Jim might have said, why me? Well, let me tell you why. Jim's legacy, which we celebrate tonight, is about an inspiring stewardship over complex policy matters, a captivating and a most charming personal leadership style. And yes, it is about a near incomparable company engagement and support, including records of members signed up. But Jim's greatest legacy gift to the BIA was the street cred that he helped us earn in the affordable housing policy arena and for creating the foundation which underlies the Housing You Matters Coalition, which Jim helped launch. Big league. When he joined the BIA board, Jim wasn't sure how he would best fit being an affordable housing builder and being very alone at that. Back then, the BIA was not on board nor comfortable with the prevailing affordable housing policy framework. We fought in lieu fees, linkage fees, and related inclusionary housing policies. We really had to. We had no choice. Affordable housing was regarded as an us versus them battle, with everyone coming after us for more subsidies, resulting in ever more unaffordable housing. Jim changed the dialogue, and all for the good. He gave face to the affordable housing producers, their housing clients, and made us see that we were just like them. And he changed our culture, and we got a new religion just when we needed it most and when those most in need of housing needed it most. Because friends, those who need affordable priced housing, they are your kids, they are your parents, they are your relatives, they are your friends and your employees, and they may even be you. Now, Jim came to the BIA with a very simple mission. It was, hey, I need what BIA's members need as well. And he showed how for-profit builders and builders of affordable housing can and should be partners, and how this would fit the public good. Jim led us through an array of policy reforms, allowing us to show City Hall the folly of an exclusive reliance on high fees. He equipped us with a veritable toolkit of options, most free market and incentive-based. And it was the first time that we changed the BIA vernacular from a somewhat myopic affordable housing focus to our full attention span on recreating overall housing affordability. And it was Jim Schmidt who approached Dr. Lynn Reeser for a study of our industry. It was Dr. Reeser who established that our industry faced, now on average, a whopping 40% regulatory production cost factor. And it was her concise narrative which highlighted a series of very uncomfortable, factually inconvenient truths. But more importantly, Dr. Reeser offered a number of practical solutions that could right our ship. The Point Loma Nazarene University study went statewide. It went viral. And every elected official knows the existence of this 40% cost factor. The fix is easy, but it's going to take political courage. Our friends and foes who hold elected positions face this choice: to continue to politically favor the housing haves or to pragmatically help the housing have-nots. Thank you, Mayor Faulkner, for leading the way. Our industry wastes millions annually on the cost of capital, on red tape and delay. When we can curtail this zero value added process, San Diego's housing affordability crisis can be over. This surely is the time to do something. This surely is the issue of our time, that housing you and housing San Diego matters. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot think of a more deserving individual than Jim Schmidt, who I have come to revere and love as both a friend and a mentor, for receiving Hall of Fame recognition. Please join me in welcoming Jim to the stage.
Boy, that is a tough introduction to follow. Thank you so much, Bora. You've delivered most of my address. But Mark, Matt Adams was certainly right when he described the power and passion. Bora and I joined the BIA at the same time, and so it's been my pleasure to watch you operate so powerfully for almost 10 years now. Your style and your substance are overwhelming. I appreciate our friendship, and I appreciate your leadership. So thank you. Bora noted that I have a large number of friends and colleagues here tonight. In fact, Mike Neal suggested that the number of tables I sell at an event like this has something to do with the honors I get. I don't think that's true, but it might be. I think the reason they're here is I don't get so many awards. The last one I got, you're not going to believe this, I won a segment of the mud run at Camp Pendleton. It's true, it's true. That's a very nice medal. You sign up in an age group, and then you check, you check a box as to whether, and this is true, whether you want to run in running clothes or combat boots. So what did I do? Well, I looked at the number of people that are dumb enough to run in combat boots. It's a small number. So I checked that box. And I bought fatigues and combat boots, and my neighbors thought I was crazy when I was training, running around the neighborhood dressed like that. And I won. I won my age group of people that ran. That's true. That's true. But the dirty truth is nobody else was dumb enough to run in combat boots in my age group. So I was the only runner. It's true. It's true. So the bad news is my friends and family all know that. So the real reason they're here tonight is to see if I practiced any similar chicanery with respect to the Hall of Fame. I didn't. It's a sacred event. I remember when Guy Asaro was here 2 years ago, and he spoke of the feeling of humility, which is a function of all the wonderful people that precede us to this membership. But I was overwhelmed with the thought of what did I possibly do to deserve this. And if there is any good reason for me to be here, I think it probably is housing you matters. But since that's so, I really need to share this with so many of you, because while it had something to do with starting it, so many of you contributed so heavily to the effort that I really do share this honor with you. So very briefly, in 2014, when I was chairman, we engaged Dr. Lynn Reeser to study the cost drivers of housing, and she came to this stunning 40% cost factor that Bora described. It did go viral, and it totally changed the dialogue, so now we talk about housing supply, as Matt said at the outset. The study was just a game changer. We've moved to the supply side of the equation. Meanwhile, the housing market recovered, of course, as it always does, and now. The price points are exactly where they were at the start of the recession. But we knew something was amiss because home ownership has declined, housing affordability has declined, middle-class people can't afford housing, and the number of homeless people has just exploded. The Department of Finance tells us that we need to build in California 180,000 homes a year, and we're building 80,000. So we're building less than half of what's needed. And that's surely not because the great people in this room can't build more houses. How can this be? I think the answer lies in the dysfunction of our entitlement system. By long tradition, those decisions are made in the local communities, where, of course, the most activated people are the neighbors who focus on the negative or perceived negative impacts of their projects. So there's no surprise that elected officials are sympathetic to their constituents. But while the outcome's understandable, it's unacceptable. It's just wrong. It's wrong that millennials can't buy homes and middle-class families can't afford homes and apartments. It's wrong that thousands of San Diegans live on the street. Think of the weather that we've been through. One night, most of us would die. It's horrible. It's certainly wrong not to build homes for 22 veterans in Poway. All of these things are just plain wrong. So, thank you. So what do we do? I believe the problem is that the correct stakeholders are not all at the table. The people that need the homes and apartments need to be represented. We need to have the millennials there, the first responders, the teachers, our friends and neighbors. They just need homes and we need to produce them. They're confronted by today what I believe is the worst housing market in terms of affordability in the history of the state of California. So how do we change the process? Like Bora, I'm an amateur historian, and I believe someone who confronted a similar problem was Margaret Thatcher, the Iron Lady of the UK. She had a simple prescription. She said, first you win the argument, and then you win the vote. The BIA and its partners won the argument with Dr. Reeser's study. Now we have to win the vote, and that's the job of Housing U Matters. Last year, Dave Stern talked about building bridges to new allies, and I believe that's exactly the right prescription. Housing U Matters includes the San Diego Housing Commission, includes the San Diego Housing Federation. It includes environmental groups and labor groups. You know what? People in unions want homes too. It's not tricky. And so they're there, they're at the table. The timing is propitious. Mayor Faulkner's wonderful new initiative includes both reforms in process and incentives for the production of housing for middle-class people and for homeless people. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's great leadership. I believe we're truly in a profound time of great change, and the leadership of the BIA is required. With the stewardship of Mike Mahoney, Rita Brandon, Dave Hammer, and all of your directors, all of the directors, with outstanding members like our Builder of the Year, Cal Atlantic Homes, and with our wonderful leadership, executive leadership, history, wisdom, persistence of Bora and his entire team, the leadership by the BIA of this effort is assured, and it will be successful. This is truly our time. Let me close by thanking all my friends and colleagues from Chelsea and Emerson and other friends in the industry. I thank you so much for freeing up the time to allow me to devote a lot of work to the BIA and its mission. I'm very proud of it, and I pledge to continue it if you'll keep me around. I thank you for this great honor, and I look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.
Thanks again, Jim, for your leadership and being part of the BIA. We are certainly better for it having you here. All right, this is our time for the second video. And it's how our members interpret that phrase. And I picked up a couple of things when I watched this one earlier. First of all, we have some members with really cool first names. And can you figure out who the mystery date is at the end of this piece? Take a look.
This is our time to bring back affordable housing to San Diego County. Recent newspaper articles have indicated that the median price of a home in this county now exceeds $500,000, and much of those costs are related to fees and regulations. For example, stormwater regulations both during and post-construction have added tens of thousands of dollars to the cost of a new home without any appreciable improvement in water quality. Now is our time to actively campaign for sane regulations at the federal, state, and local level, which can protect the environment while bringing back affordable homes.
To stop listening to local, self-interested individuals and listen to all of San Diego. The San Diego region, as a whole, needs, wants, and demands more housing. Let's make sure we give it to them.
This is our time to tell our story and inspire the broader community to join our movement. Together, we can solve the housing crisis and provide new space for local businesses to succeed.
Everyone's talking about housing, and that's what we do. We build, and we got this.
So what that means to me is less regulations, more building, more homes, more jobs. It's a great future.
I've been in business 25 years. Like all of us, we've survived the Great Recession. It's ups and downs. We need to claim back now what so many took away from us. We're proud of what we do. This is our time to show it. Now is the time for the BIA. Now is the time for our companies to grow.
As your paid advocate, I spend my days educating staff and elected officials on our housing crisis. Quite simply, folks, it's economics. It's supply and demand. We don't build enough housing. So will you join me with the motto, build, baby, build? I'm ready to go build. Are you?
The profile gives the whole thing away, doesn't it? Nice job, Mikey. All right, well, we've reached halftime in tonight's program. So we're gonna let you enjoy a little dinner, a little time with your table companions, and then we will come back for the installation of our new chair and the 2017 board. Enjoy your dinner, everyone. Well, welcome back, everyone. How's the dinner so far? The wine good? I wouldn't know, I'm working. All right, while you're finishing up your meal, enjoying coffee, we're gonna watch one more video. Our final video really defines who we are and what we do. A house is more than just a structure. It's an incubator for memories of all kinds. You're not just building a home, you're building a future for all of us. Please watch.
I build homes for a reason. And that reason is I believe in the American dream. And for far too long, we've let that dream die for the millennials. It's our time to make that right. It's our time to give them a bedroom for their kids, a backyard to play in, a house to celebrate Thanksgiving, to have a Christmas tree in. We've got to stop being NIMBYs. We have to say yes to housing. It has to be a social justice issue. It has to be something we fight for, but in a new message, a message of positive opportunities for the next generation. For you millennials and your kids and my grandkids, we cannot fail this. We have to make housing urgent, something we need, and something passionately we build each and every day.
This is our time. This is our time to build places for people to live, work, and play. This is our time to stand on the shoulders of the industry greats before us that believed that there was a house for everyone, everywhere. This is our time to show up at the city council hearings the planning groups, and even our own cocktail parties to change that conversation to we need more housing and we need it now. This is our time. Let's go do this.
Time where we create more jobs on building projects, there's more affordable housing for everyone, and there's greater business opportunities.
This is our time to build our children's future, our time to ensure they can work in a city that's vibrant, dynamic, but don't have to commute for hours to the place they call home. Our time to push back on the myths about housing, and our time to redouble our efforts to fight the policies that have created our region's housing shortage. This is our time.
Now is our time to listen to each other, work together, and promote the YIMBY movement to build a great future for San Diego.
This is our time to bring middle-class housing, working-class housing to San Diego.
We need to take a step back and look at what we've been through, not in a negative way about what we've gone through, but more about what we've accomplished. We need to take that and move forward and do more of the same.
This is our time, building the American dream for all of San Diego, because housing you matters.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to meet the leaders who will guide the BIA throughout the coming year. Your 2017 BIA Board of Directors: Guy Asaro, Meridian Development; Graham Gabriel Coleridge; Shannon Gaunt, Wells Fargo Home Mortgage; Chris Hall, Hallmark Communities; Mark Harris, Performance Drywall; Sarah Kilborn, Ryan Young Interiors; John Larea, HG Fenton; Jeff O'Connor, Home Fed Corporation; Tony Pauker, Brookfield Residential; Alex Plishner, Cal Atlantic Homes; Mark Radlow, Sudbury Properties; Michael Sabrin, Cornerstone Communities; Tyler Sandstrom, New Point Communities; Jim Schmid, Chelsea Investment Corporation; Greg Shields, Project Design Consultants; Josh Vassbinder, the Dyneverstein Companies. Your 2017 senior officers: President and CEO, Bora Winkle, Building Industry Association of San Diego. Your immediate past chairman, David Stern, Lennar Homes. General Counsel, Jeffrey Chine, Alan Madkins. Treasurer Secretary, Dave Hammer, Hunsucker and Associates, San Diego. And Vice Chair, Rita Brandon, Newland Real Estate Group. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2017 BIA Board of Directors.
now, to swear in this illustrious group as your 2017 Board of Directors, it is my honor to introduce a longtime friend of the BIA whose hard work and dedication to America's finest city is appreciated by all. The San Diego mayor who rode to re-election on 640 miles of freshly paved streets, the Honorable Kevin Faulconer.
Well, good evening. It is great to be here. What a great MC you have. All the money you spent for Matt Adams to be here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. He's doing a fantastic job. Matt and Bora, thank you for the work that you do day in and day out, week in and week out, and month out. And ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for what you're doing to provide the American dream, not just for the city of San Diego, but for our entire region. And the fact that we have so many of my colleagues here from so many other cities, I think it's testament to the work that you're doing. And I think if you've seen tonight on the videos and from our speakers tonight, and Jim said it so eloquently, this is the time. This is the time to come together because we have that unique opportunity where you have folks that have traditionally said they don't want any more housing, understanding how important it is. And I had the pleasure to deliver my State of the City speech just about a week and a half ago. And I talked about probably half of my speech was on housing, was on homelessness, and particularly on housing affordability. And I said something in the middle of that speech that I think many of you who were there saw. I said, I'm going to say something that a mayor normally doesn't say in San Diego. We need to build more housing. And you know what? People clap there too. So we're on to something. Because it's about housing at all levels. And the opportunity here is we have this new board of directors and all of your help and support. We need you. We need you to provide that American dream to so many people of all income levels. And I can just say this, as I talked about the state of city and as we're going to be announcing literally in the days and the weeks ahead, we are going to be doing so much to change, to make it easier to provide that workforce housing, to make it easier to provide middle-class housing. And I will say this before I swear in this board of directors, I'm going to need your help. Because not everybody is going to support what we're going to be rolling out. So I will need you to stand up. I will need you to be at our city council meetings, and I'm glad some of my colleagues who are here tonight, because it is one of the biggest issues that we are facing in the city of San Diego, and it affects all of us. Anybody that stays here, loves the city, we want you to be able to afford a house here. We have the opportunity to do it. We're going to be slashing permitting times. We're going to be doing a variety of things that people thought were never possible, that I'm going to be asked the city council to join me with doing that. And so I'm going to need your help, BIA. This is probably going to be one of the most important years that we've undertaken. But I will tell you, I'm more optimistic than I've ever been because the timing is right. It is the time. It's not a partisan issue. It's not about Republican, Democrat. It's what's the right thing that we should be doing. And the right thing that we should be doing is providing more housing for our families, for our kids, and for San Diegans. So, end of political speech. And now the business at hand to administer the oath to our board members. So the members of the BIA Board of Directors, when you were elected or appointed to the board, the members of this association have obviously demonstrated their trust in you and their belief that you will carry out the duties of your office in a responsible and effective manner. So would you please raise your right hand and respond with "I do" at the conclusion of the oath. As a member of the Board of Directors, it is your responsibility to ensure that the association meets all of its legal obligations, to develop and approve plans which will further the goals and objectives of the association, to provide your leadership with the resources necessary to carry out the plans and programs of the association, and to see that the controls are established which ensure the orderly operation of the association. And as the newly elected directors of the BIA of San Diego County, do you accept this charge from the members of the association? And do you promise to help Mayor Faulconer build more housing in San Diego? If the answer is yes, we say, "I do." Congratulations, you're now a proud member of the 2017 member of the BIA San Diego County.
Crowded stage. That was wonderful. Thank you, Mayor Faulkner. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the executive chairman and founder of Con-Am, Dan Epstein, and your next chair of the Building Industry Association, Mike Mahoney.
Firstly, for those of you that are attending for the first time, I'm Dan. This is Mike. Mike, I'm incredibly honored that you selected me to be part of your installation. And we've had a relationship for over 10 years. When I first met you and I saw your skill set and your energy and your drive, you reminded me of someone. Can you guess who that was? It was me 50 years earlier. So I was pleased to have you join our firm. In your role heading up all of our development, you've been a major factor in our success. And just part of it, at the moment, in addition to your duties here, you have 3 major apartments under construction up in the Northwest, so you're one busy guy. You've shown great leadership in our company. When I think of that leadership, it's tenacity, perseverance, and smarts. That's the type of skill set that you'll be bringing to the BIA. I consider you not only a business associate, a friend, and also a fellow Trojan. Ooh. Well, maybe I went a little too far. With that, I would like to have you administer the oath. You raise your right hand. And repeat after me. I, Mike Mahoney,
I, Mike Mahoney,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully perform the duties and responsibilities of... Okay,
it's a long sentence.
go ahead. That all those great things I said about you, you should be able to memorize 10 sentences. That I will faithfully perform the duties and responsibilities
That I will faithfully perform the duties and responsibilities
of Chairman of the Building Industry Association
Chairman of the Building Industry Association
of San Diego County,
of San Diego County,
in accordance with its bylaws and policies,
in accordance with its bylaws and policies,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
uphold the principles and purposes upon which it was founded.
uphold the principles and purposes upon which it was founded.
Congratulations, Mike. May the year ahead be one of accomplishment and reward for you and the association.
Dan, as I stood up here earlier, the thought occurred to me that this now makes the fourth of 5 years where a Trojan has been the chairman. The lone blemish is Jim Schmidt, but he did win a Hall of Fame award, so don't want to be too mean to him. So thank you all for coming tonight, notably our sponsors. And also I want to acknowledge our friends who are in from Seattle and Portland, Perkins Coie, as well as Pavilion Construction. It's a long way to go. And thank you for coming. You could have left your weather back there, but it's all right. And Dan, thank you for installing me into the chairman's role. 15 years ago, you took me under your wing when I knew nothing about real estate. Tonight, I stand here having worked 10 years as your head of development, representing the organization that you founded right here in San Diego 42 years ago. That's an eon in real estate life. Your guidance, wisdom, and the example of doing business the right way have been instrumental to my growth, and I offer you a most sincere thank you. To Con-Am's executive team, and to my staff, and to you too, Gary, you're included in that. Thank you for your support and encouragement over the years. I couldn't ask for a better group. It's an incredibly talented group that exemplifies hard work and collaboration. I also want to give congratulations to Jim Schmidt for his well-deserved Hall of Fame award tonight. Jim, you've been a great friend and an advocate for our industry, and it's an honor to share the stage with a fellow Minnesotan, and perhaps, or I should say more specifically, a fellow Hopkins High School graduate tonight. Well done. I'm fortunate enough to have my 3 career mentors in attendance tonight. I mentioned Dan Epstein earlier, but I'd also like to acknowledge Steve Quinn and Neil Pollack. While working at their companies, each took time to nurture my personal and professional development. Each set an admirable example by their actions, and each occasionally, but astutely, reminded me that I didn't know nearly as much as I thought I knew. And Steve and Neil, you can take comfort in the fact that Dan continues that tradition today. I hope everyone here takes a minute also to thank the BIA staff. They're an incredible group of hardworking, dedicated, and supportive people who give so much to the industry and make guys like me look better than I deserve. Thank you. Thank you for all your efforts and contributions. And thanks to my fellow board members, and especially the senior officers, David Stern, Rita Brandon, and Dave Hammer. We've got a diverse group of men and women on the board from different backgrounds ranging from land development to interior designers, and everyone has an opinion. I really look forward to an exciting year. Seeing my parents here in the front row is really a thrill to me. When I got my first job out of college as a project engineer, my parents gave me a contractor's level that my grandpa used in building log cabins in Minnesota. Mom and Dad, I'll never forget the message you gave me with that gift. You said, keep it level and always play it straight. I love you and I'm happy you can be here. And Brittany, my wonderful wife. Your selfless support while balancing work and parenting demands, often while I'm traveling or arriving home late from work, is something I truly admire and appreciate. The other day you joked that the only thing I should tell people here tonight is that you're perfect. But I really think you are perfect. You're the perfect mother, partner, friend, and wife. And that's despite you adopting a cat without my knowledge. I love you and can't tell you how much your support means to me. You're the rock of our family. Thank you. Several years ago, Marco Sessa and Jim Schmidt asked if I would consider taking on the chairman's role. I was beyond appreciative for being asked, but I went through a laundry list of reasons as to why I felt I was unqualified. I was relatively new to the board of directors. I'm an apartment developer in an association that's historically been led by for-sale builders, and on and on and on. Yet, here I am tonight. If you want to know why I decided to take on the chairman's role, I'd have to explain a little bit about my background. I was born the youngest of 3 children and raised in a small central Minnesota town called Brainerd. Brainerd's situated on the Mississippi River and is best known for allegedly being the birthplace of Paul Bunyan. It's a Northwoods town where strangers greet each other in the fall with a, "Did you get your deer?" And taxidermy qualifies as fine art. My mom and dad are both college educated. My dad, a Vietnam veteran, was a manufacturing manager, and my mom was a teacher at the local high school. And as a kid, I held jobs that included delivering newspapers, mowing lawns, and bagging groceries. All 3 of us kids were fortunate enough to graduate from college, with my parents covering a portion and the 3 of us taking out student loans to cover the balance. We were a middle-class family whose parents instilled values, led by example, stressed the need for education, and conveyed that life's opportunities were limitless if you worked hard enough and invested in yourself. So with that background, it is personally troubling to me when I see so few options for middle-class housing in San Diego. Despite being skilled in working in noble professions, even having a college degree, middle-class families like the one I grew up in are regularly unable to make ends meet due to housing costs. And furthermore, we aren't building any attainable or workforce housing, which only exacerbates the problem. This has to change. Creating more housing options for all working families, regardless of income level, is critical to San Diego's economic vibrancy, social health, and maintaining its status as America's finest city. So how do we do that? How do we change a regulatory structure that imposes massive fees, lengthy approval time, and uncertainty in land use, and promote more workforce housing options? Well, they say that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, so perhaps we ought to look at what's worked in other cities. Con Am has successfully developed this exact workforce housing in Seattle and Portland because both cities recognized long ago that to attract employers like Intel and Amazon, they need to provide attainable housing for those workers. Both cities understand that the best way to provide this housing is through a combination of incentives and land use certainty. As a couple quick examples, Seattle and Portland offer developers a property tax incentive in exchange for a small portion of the units being capped at moderate to low income levels. This type of incentive would do wonders for affordable housing production across the San Diego region and also serve as a catalyst for redevelopment in areas like City Heights, National City, Barrio Logan, and other transit-oriented areas. Portland allows by-right development. No discretionary hearings in certain zones. Here's Portland, widely regarded as one of the best planned cities in America, and they offer by-right development, rejecting the ballot box planning that's too often become the norm in California. These are just a couple of ideas and approaches to housing that we need to be exploring with our cities, and we will be exploring with our cities. Because what we can't do is consider down zones in urban, transit-oriented areas like Uptown. We can't allow a vocal minority to railroad good projects, like in Poway, where Habitat Humanity was denied approvals for a zoned housing project intended to serve disabled veterans. Think about that. If Habitat for Humanity can't get a project for disabled veterans approved, what chance do the rest of us stand? As chairman, I want to bring our positive experiences in world-class cities like Seattle and Portland to San Diego and enhance our best practices for housing policy and land use. Because if we're truly going to solve this housing crisis and develop more workforce housing options, we need fresh ideas, attitudes, and solutions. So it's going to be challenging, but I've never been more optimistic about where we're heading. And I'm excited about leading our association in promoting increased housing options. Because as you've heard all night tonight, it is our time. It's our time because attitudes are changing, coalitions are being formed, and the NIMBYs are being exposed for their self-interest. It's our time because Housing U Matters creates one of the most broad-based collaborators for housing advocacy ever and is garnering national attention for their efforts towards lowering the cost of housing in San Diego. It's our time because millennials, the next wave of renters and homeowners, and America's largest generation of knit cap wearing kombucha drinkers refuse to be told no by NIMBYs on their housing options. It's our time because we just heard Mayor Faulkner tonight, as well as in his State of the City address, talk about the need for middle-income workforce housing. And it has many of the same concepts that Con Am's seen successfully implemented in Seattle and Portland. Mayor Faulkner, I applaud your leadership and forward thinking in this matter, and be assured that the BIA will always support you in your efforts. One final story about why I took on the chairmanship role, and then it's time for cocktails. A year and a half ago, my wife gave child to our first child. Evelyn Rose Mahoney was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis and spent her first 2 months at Rady's, where she underwent 2 surgeries. As if by fate, the very day Evelyn was released from Rady's, the FDA announced that a groundbreaking drug named Orkambi had been approved to help treat this genetic disease. It's expected to add years of life to thousands of children and adults. So why do I tell you this? I tell you this because the drug Orkambi was developed right here in San Diego off Torrey Pines Road by Vertex Pharmaceuticals. Because UCSD's genetics program ranks in the top 10 in the world, a pioneer for researching cures in genetic diseases. Because Rady's Hospital, the hospital that saved our daughter's life, is endowed by longtime San Diego developer and philanthropist Ernest Rady and consistently ranks in the top children's hospital in the US, employing the best doctors and nurses in the country. And this really shows how great San Diego is because even the salt in San Diego's ocean air has been proven to extend lives of cystic fibrosis sufferers. I love my home state of Minnesota, and I love taxidermy, but San Diego gives my daughter life. But this isn't a story about my daughter. This is not a story about my daughter. It's a story, and it's just a story, undoubtedly one of hundreds in this room tonight, about San Diego and its incredible people. The teachers, military, nurses, policemen, scientists, janitors, lab technicians, and so many others across all income levels whose collective efforts make our lives better every day. They are why I'm here tonight, to help give the wonderful people who do so many amazing things in this city a chance to raise their families here. I'm extremely honored and humbled to be your BIA chairman for 2017 and truly appreciate your support tonight and in the coming year. Thank you.
Well, that's it. That concludes our program for this evening, but not the party. Please join us in the Grand Lobby Bar on the first floor for a cocktail or 2 or 3. We have a limited supply of drink tickets, so please see Danielle for that ticket as you make your way downstairs. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of the night, and remember, this is our time. Good night, everybody.